Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Caleb, and in this video I'll be giving you tips on how to successfully win over 1.5 goals bet. It is a tricky one as sometimes we expect goals galore in a game, yet the game ends 1-0 or 0-0. Things like that do happen. An example is in the Arsenal versus Manchester City game. So in this video, I'll be giving you tips on the scenarios to consider when placing your bet on over 1.5 goals. But before I do that, guys, please don't forget to hit the like on this button. Please, guys, give this video a like so that it can be shared to more and more people. And also, hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you get all our videos whenever we upload them. So guys, the scenarios to consider when placing your bet on over 1.5 goals. Now, you have to consider on the teams involved. The first scenario is if there are two big teams involved. If the game you want to place a bet on is on two big teams playing against each other, for example, Manchester City versus Liverpool or Barcelona versus Real Madrid, then you have to consider if these two teams are capable enough to score and concede against each other. So you ask yourself that question, Manchester City versus Liverpool, are they capable enough to score and concede against each other? And if it is a yes, then you can go with that game. But if it's a no, then you have to think twice before putting your money on that game. The next scenario is the bigger team against a weaker or an average team. For example, Real Madrid versus Almeria or Liverpool versus Luton. In this scenario, you have a bigger team, a stronger team against a weaker team or an average team. Here you have to first of all ask yourself the first question. Is the stronger team capable of scoring 2 goals plus in that game if the weaker team or the average team doesn't score? That is the first thing you have to ask yourself about. And if yes, then you can go on that game. But if you realize that the stronger team cannot be able to score 2 goals plus in that game, then you have to ask yourself the next question. Is the weaker team or the average team capable of scoring the stronger team in that game? For example, if Chelsea plays against Brentford or Arsenal against West Ham. Now, in this case, Arsenal is the stronger team, West Ham is the average team. Now you ask yourself, is the average team capable of scoring against the stronger team, which is Arsenal? And if yes, then you can easily bet on that game. But if no, then you have to think twice again before you bet on that game. And in scenario 3 is if two weak teams are playing against each other or two average teams are playing against each other. In this case, you ask yourself, are they capable of scoring or conceding against each other? For example, if two average teams are playing, Aston Villa versus Brighton, then you ask yourself, are they capable of scoring against each other? And if you find the answer to be yes, then you can place your bet on over 1.5 goals. An example of two weak teams can be Burnley versus Luton. You ask yourself, are they capable of scoring against each other? And if yes, then you can place your bet on that game. So that is what you consider when betting on weaker teams playing against each other or average teams playing against each other. And the fourth scenario in this case is if an average team is playing against a weaker team. If an average team is playing against a weaker team. An example can be Athletic Bilbao versus Almeria or Brighton versus Luton. So those are average teams playing against the weaker team. Teams that are weak, that find themselves down at the bottom of the table. Now in this scenario, you ask yourself, if you are confident enough that the average team can be able to score 2 or more goals in that game. If the weaker team doesn't score, for example, Brighton versus Luton, you ask yourself, is Brighton capable enough to score 2 or more goals in the game against Luton if Luton doesn't score? And if yes, then you can easily place your bet on that game. But if you find it that Brighton is not able to score 2 goals, then you ask yourself, is Luton capable of scoring at least a single goal against Brighton? There you get your answer. If it's a yes, then you can easily place your bet, hoping that both teams can be able to draw 1-1. But if no, then you don't place a bet on such a game. So those are the 4 scenarios you can consider when placing your bet on over 1.5 goals. And now, to further ascertain if these scenarios you have considered will be able to give you victory in those games that you are choosing. Now, the first thing you do is you go over to the league tables. Go to the goals section of the league table and check on those teams you are about to bet on, the number of goals scored and the number of goals conceded. Because here you are playing goals, not winning. So you don't care about their head-to-head that they have been winning over the years. Now you check on the goals only. So the first thing is you go to the goals section of the league table and you check the number of goals scored and the number of goals conceded. If you see that there are teams that are capable of scoring goals and also concede a lot of goals, then it is possible for that game to be able to go over 1.5 goals because they have a high probability of scoring in that game and also they have a high probability to concede in that game. So that is how you check on them. Then the next thing you do to further ascertain if this game can go over 1.5 goals is to check the score lines of their last 5 matches. Now, why you go back to their last 5 matches is because the last 5 matches is enough to give you an overview of what a team is made up about in that period and in the time of betting. The last 5 games were probably 4 to 5 weeks ago, meaning in 4 to 5 weeks, it can be able to give you an overview of what that team is all about in that period. If they are scoring more goals or they are conceding more goals. So you check on the score line. Whether they win or not is not your problem. It's the score line. And the teams against which they scored or conceded. That is how you check on them. So when you ascertain when you check on their last 5 matches and the score line, you check the strength of the opponents which they played. Then you can know the strength of the opponent on which they concede against or which they scored against. That will give you an overview on the match that you are to bet on, the strength of their opponents as well. And you ascertain if they are able to score or they'll be able to concede in that game. So that is my 2 cents on how to be able to win over 1.5 goals. Guys, we can all implement these strategies. I have been implementing it and it's working out for me. Though the points are the odds are very, very low, but it takes time. You have to be able to play a lot of games, probably 4 to 5 games in order to get 2 odds. So you can use this strategy and these scenarios I've given you in order to place your bets on over 1.5 goals. Hope to hear from you in the comment section on better ideas that you use, and also if you use this strategy and ideas and it worked for you. I'll be hoping to hear from you in the comment section on the results. Hope to see you soon, guys. Thank you.